my name is Tamara, and this is episode 5 of the Caffeinated Craft Mamas podcast. My podcast all about my knitting and crocheting adventures in Southwest Missouri, where I live with my partner Richard, our 3 kids, and our dog. Today is March 11th, Thursday, the day before spring break. My kids go on spring break tomorrow. So I thought I'd get a podcast recorded really quick because I'm not going to have any more quiet time for the next 9 days. So let's get started. How are you all doing? I hope you all are well. It's a cool compared to several weeks ago. A cool and rainy day here in Southwest Missouri. It's supposed to rain all weekend. We're supposed to get, I believe, between 5 and 6 inches of rain. So, but we need it. April showers bring May flowers, whatever. So, first thing I want to talk about, you guys have seen before if you've watched my podcast, but the Long Walk Cardie from Farm Fresh Knits, Nicole over there, is being released on, tomorrow, March 12th. So I wanted to show this to you guys one more time. Take it off here. And talk to you guys about it for a few minutes since it's being released. So this is a bottom-up construction cardigan. And the cool thing about this cardigan is it is completely size inclusive. That arrow pattern goes all the way up, goes up the sleeves as well. What you do is you knit your gauge swatch with the needles you want to use and the yarn you want to use, and then you input that along with your measurements. So you take your bust measurement, your arm measurement, a bunch of stuff, and it creates a custom cardigan pattern for you. So it's a really neat concept. I really like it. I love this cardigan. I wear it a lot. Richard has worn it when it was really cold. He even stole it for a while and wore it. So it's a nice, cozy, comfy cardigan. Definitely great for the cooler months. So it's being released on March 12th, and you can go over to Farm Fresh Knits, her name is Nicole, and snag one of those patterns. So that was a lot of fun to test for her. Okay, so I've got a couple of FOs, a couple whips, and one more stash edition. I know I said that there wouldn't be any more, but Richard surprised me. So let's start with FOs though. First one I have is my mom's Hermione's Everyday Socks. When you guys last saw these, I was about halfway through. Well, I was about up here on the first sock. And then I powered through and finished the second sock. So I'm really excited to give these to her. They're gonna be our Mother's Day gift. They were knit on a US size 1 magic loop, toe up, 2.25 millimeter for those of you who don't use US sizes. They are knit out of Knitpick's Stroll fingering in the color Hollyberry. So I have a charcoal, or kind of between charcoal and ash gray, that I am envisioning a pair of these for myself in. So. And then, if you're on my Instagram, you've already seen this, but I finished William's Dino Rawr Sweater. Got his little sleeves here. He loves it. He has reached for it several times. I've been keeping it up over here above our DVDs, and he has gone over there and reached for it and asked for it. He's worn it several days since I finished it. Like I said, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen him in it. It took me about 50 photos to get that photo, by the way. I ended up with 3 good ones out of the 50 I took. Joys of having a toddler, right? This pattern is by Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Studios. It's her Dino Rawr Mini. It's in sizes from 0 to 6 months all the way up to 8 to 13 years. So yeah, and this is the 4 to 5T size. I'm a little bummed because I don't think this will fit him next year. In the body, it most definitely will, but he's got long arms and the sleeves are gonna be too short, I think. I'm gonna hold on to it just to make sure. It might still fit him, you never know. He either grows a ton or he doesn't grow at all. So those were my 2 FOs. I'm really proud of myself for getting those done. And since we're already talking about the Dino Rawr sweater, we'll start with the second one I cast on. Because as soon as you finish a sweater, of course, you have to start another. This is all I've gotten done on my friend's son's Dino Rawr. I'm knitting this out of I Love This Yarn in the Royal colorway, and then the dinosaurs are gonna be just some red that I had in stash. Sorry, that cake's a mess, but I'll show you a picture, even though I just showed you the front of the pattern. So I would have had probably part of the color work done on this sweater, but I was at my friend's house and I was knitting on the rib and I just kept going and didn't switch to my larger needles and ended up having to rip. I was about to where I am now, so I ended up having to rip back to the ribbing and re-knit it because it was on size 4 needles instead of size 6. And I'm knitting this on my Knitpicks interchangeable set that I have. So yeah, I was like, wow, Tamara, way to go. So that was fun, ripping that back. Speaking of ripping back, I'm a little irked. Now, let me preface this by saying this has nothing to do with the pattern. I'm test knitting a pattern for someone and the pattern so far is wonderful. I'm not having any problems. I've never had a problem with any of her patterns. This was my own fault. So let's start with what pattern I'm working on. This is Space Cloud by Hook Mountain Handmade. Jovi is her name. Just this really pretty worsted weight sweater with this fun color work, and it might be hard to see in the photo, but there's some eyelets, like eyelet rows in here. And they're short row shaping. And I thought, oh, I've done short rows before, no big deal. You know, I got this. And I did them, and I'm knitting along. I've done my increases, and I'm starting to notice on 5 of my short rows, this. And I'm like, okay. Because half of my short rows, you can barely see. So apparently when I picked up the purl short rows, I messed something up. I don't know what I did. And I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna rip back or not. There's a very strong possibility when I finish recording this episode, I'm going to rip back because it's bugging me, quite honestly. I messaged Jovi and I was like, hey, I think I did something wrong. And she basically was like, oh, you don't have to rip back if you don't want to, but if it's gonna bug you, go ahead. So I'm still trying to decide what I want to do, but like this is a whole afternoon's worth of like nap time knitting, and I hate to rip all that back, you know. This is the yarn. Both of these are I Love This yarn. Olivia picked these up for me, my stepdaughter. So this is Gray Mist, is the gray color. And then she picked out Meadow Dance for the color block section with the eyelet rows. So, I mean, they look really pretty together, but I just know that it's gonna bug me, that they're not right. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might go ahead and steam block them and see if I can get them to lay a little better. If I can get it to lay a little better, I mean, it is the back of the sweater. Nobody's gonna notice, but a little bit of the perfectionist in me is having a hard time leaving those there. She is still looking for testers in the 50 to 65 or 66 inch, words are hard for me today. Yoke, thank you. So if you want to hop over to her Instagram and apply. I have loved testing for her. This is my second testing for her, and she's very responsive, very sweet, good at explaining things. I really enjoy working with her. Okay, let's move to my other whale of a project that hasn't gotten a ton of work, but it has gotten some. Mostly I'm showing this just because I need to work on it more, and I'm hoping this will motivate me. I've got, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. I am on the decreases for Abby's blanket. So this is one block. So I've only got 3 more to go after this. You know, sometimes with projects like this, I do better when I get to a time crunch. So I'll put it off, I'll put it off, I'll put it off, and then it'll be like 4 weeks before graduation, and then I will just like power through and finish these. That's what happened with my cousin Emily's blanket. I didn't want to work on it, and then I finished the whole thing in like 3 weeks. So I'm sure that's what's going to end up happening here, but I did want to show you guys that I did get a little bit of progress, and let me mark so you guys will know next time where we were, so I can prove that I did do some work on it. And that's just your basic corner to corner. I'm striping it based on a pattern from Megan Can Do, her Madigan Mystery Cowl. It's on her blog. It's a free pattern, so you can look that up. Okay, next up is a project that kind of got put by the wayside after all the snow and stuff. I was obsessed with knitting on this, and then I just quit, which I do that on occasion. I did get some work done. So this is my Chasing Blizzard shawl, which is a pattern by, let's see, KVG Woolworks. It's on Ravelry, it's a free pattern. And I have changed a little bit of it. So I was right here when you guys saw it last. And this is one of my entries into the Great Green Cow, hosted by several makers. You can look it up on Instagram. It's hashtag Great Green Cow. And the Dino Rawr Sweater is going in there, and then I'm hoping to finish this. And I did the math and figured out if I do one section every day, which is usually between 6 and 8 rows, I will have this finished by the end of the cow, which is, I believe, March 30th, so the end of this month. So I've worked on it a little bit more. The yarns that I'm using are Cascade Heritage in Black and Bad Wolf Girl Studios and Pinup Zombie. Like I said, I was obsessively knitting on this, and then I just kind of stopped. So I pulled it back out and was like, hey, you should work on that some. I'd like to have it finished. Of course, it's going to be too warm here to wear it after I finish it, but that's okay. I'll block it and put it back for next year. And that'll be fun. So I still love the color choices. Absolutely love that bright pop of color with that black. So I'm definitely going to enjoy wearing this. It doesn't help that the coat that I envision wearing with this is broken right now. I ripped a pocket out of it, and my mom's trying to fix it for me. It's my favorite coat. So that might be another reason why I haven't wanted to pick this up as much. Let's see. This bag is by Knit by Nature. It's Combs ML on Instagram. The stars glow in the dark. It's my absolute favorite. I love it. I think I talk about it every time I use it. This project is a new one. This bag is by White Clover Studios. She's a local bag maker here in Springfield, where I live. And these are birthday socks for a friend. So Nicole, if you're watching, look away for the next 2 minutes so you don't see your birthday socks. My friend Nicole has a big birthday coming up this year, and so she asked me to teach her how to knit, and she really wants to learn how to knit socks. And I said, well, why don't I knit you a pair of socks first to make sure you like them before you knit yourself a whole pair. So I just started her 2 toes. This yarn is Knitpicks Static in the Paradise colorway. Let me see if I can find, that looks a little better. My one cake's a little wonky. Now, normally, I like my stripes to match up, even a little bit. They don't have to be perfect, but if they match up a little bit, they'd be okay. I had a heck of a time figuring out this repeat, which is silly because my mom knit these for a friend not too long ago, and I was able to get hers to match up. So I texted Nicole, and I was like, hey, do you care if your stripes match up or not? And she's like, no, I don't. So there are her 2 little toes. Hopefully I'll have those done pretty quick because her birthday's next month. So hopefully I'll get those off the needles quickly. Back to 2 at a time, magic loop, chiaogoo red lace, US 1. Okay, last thing, actually, wow, that flew. Oh, usually on these, I do every other episode where I show my Cozy Memories blanket, and I'm going to start showing my scrappy granny square. Honestly, they didn't get a lot of work done. Sunday was a crazy day. We had a lot going on, and I didn't really work on anything, so there's not much to show. So hopefully I'll show them next time. So I know I said I wasn't going to buy yarn, but Meg from Bad Wolf Girl Studios posted her February yarn club. And the theme was Princess and the Frog. And Richard was sitting next to me, and I was scrolling through Instagram, and he saw the photo, her inspiration photo. And he was like, oh, that's pretty. And I said, yeah, she's dyeing yarn based on this photo. Isn't it pretty? And he said, yeah, it is. And nothing else was really said about it. And a few weeks later, he brings me home this bag. And I'm like, what's this from? From our P.O. box. And he's like, well, it's yarn. I'm like, did I order that in my sleeve? He's like, no, honey, I ordered it for you. So this is her Princess and the Frog colorway. So I'm super excited to crack into this. I have 2 pairs of birthday socks I have to knit first, but you had better believe this will be a pair of socks in the near future. Socks are typically my summer knitting because I get hot working on sweaters and things, so I typically power through several pairs of socks in the summer. But I mean, just look at that. Look at that. She's just a magician. I just love her yarn so much, and it's so soft, and she just does such a good job. I'm really bummed. Like, I'm glad she gets to go to grad school, all that stuff, but I'm really bummed that she's not dyeing as much yarn as she was. So anyway, that's my new stash edition, and I just love it so much. So that's really about it. I didn't even talk about what tea I'm drinking. I'm just drinking a Yorkshire tea biscuit brew. I'm going to have to order some of this like immediately because I'm almost out, which is sad. And I'm drinking it in my Happiness is Handmade mug. Not much to say for life updates. Richard and I are going out of town this weekend. By the time you guys see this, we'll already be home. But we're going out of town this weekend, our first trip by ourselves without the kids since William was born, so I'm really excited. We're just going to Branson for the weekend. He asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I wanted to go to the fancy yarn store, and I wanted really good food, and I wanted his undivided attention. Go than that, I really didn't care. So we'll see what we end up doing. We got our first Airbnb. So knowing us, we'll probably go to the fancy yarn store, get ice cream, and then go back and watch Marvel movies because our Airbnb has a projector. So we'll be able to watch them almost like we're in the movie theater because that's the kind of nerds we are. We've made it all the way to Captain America and the Winter Soldier in the Marvel timeline movies. So we'll probably finish that, maybe watch one other one while we're there, and probably sleep because we don't sleep much. So anyway, that's about it. I feel like I flew through that, but I guess we'll see how much time I have, and then I will record another one if I really need to. I've recorded several of these twice, but yeah, I hope you all are doing well. I hope that you are healthy and you are safe, and that you are finding time to knit and do some things for yourself. And I will see you in 2 weeks after the craziness of spring break. Bye, guys.